do you guys feel availability-wise going into the postseason?
We're all good. It'll be the same squad that went to DC, with the exception that Dave Bingham's back, so he'll be in the squad as well.
I know we saw George back in the building, going up to training. Is that a situation where maybe he goes to Philly and maybe follows you down as a third keeper, or is it kind of up in the air at this point?
No, he's not allowed to, I don't believe, because he's been out on loan. So because he went out on loan after the window, I believe, then I think he's ineligible for us.
Okay. So will he play for Legacy then, or will he just be
I think he's travelled with Legacy for their game tomorrow.
So in terms of kind of the way that you guys have been going recently, I know that you kind of had the two guys on international duty who came back. How tough does that make your decision going into Sunday, knowing how both Caroline and Patrick played?
I think it's a great decision for me. We've got players who are in form at the moment, all wanting to start the game, and that's where I said I'd like to be at the start of the season. Come the end of the season, that I've got players fighting for positions and playing in good form as well. So it's a really good position for me to be in.
What makes Orlando challenging about trying to get a result from them?
I think they're the best team we could have faced, because I'm a big believer that the league table never lies. So, if you look at the league table, the best team were Miami, the second best team were Columbus, and the third was Cincinnati, and then ourselves and Orlando were a point apart. So it makes it a real tight matchup. We know a lot about each other. We haven't played that long ago. So I think there'll be really tight games against them, but ones that we're looking forward to, because we'll go in with some momentum and a lot of confidence, but we certainly won't be overconfident and, respectful of the team we're playing against.
I know one of the things Ashley said is he kind of took responsibility for the way that last game ended. How important will composure be for your entire side? Yeah,
it'd be very important. As I say, I felt we lost a little bit of emotional control against them. There was a first half that was very scrappy, not many chances from both teams, and then we fell into a little bit of a trap and gave that first goal away, and always had to chase the game from there. So emotional control is going to be very big on this one.
How do you deal with the situation at striker, knowing that the game could go to penalties after 90?
We won't be looking at penalties. We'll be concentrating on trying to win the game first in 90 minutes. If it goes to penalties, we'll be ready for that. But at the moment, it's just about concentrating on getting the win.
Have you done any more experimentation with Carol and Pat on the field together, or is it just kind of one in, one out type situation?
I think at the moment it's pretty much been one in, one out, because the other players in and around the squad have been playing so well as well, in and around the team. I think there's a possibility you could play the two together if you needed to. I just feel that you lose a body in midfield there, and I think that's an area where we've been really strong in outnumbering the opposition.
I was just talking to Urso yesterday and asked him about the halftime conversation. I'm sorry, the post game after Orlando when you guys lost, and you told us you were gone for a long time, and then you told us there were some hard truths. Junior said he remembers some positive things you had to say. Almost, do you try to end a conversation like that with something they can build on and
No, I just think sometimes it's the way I'd probably look at life, the way I am as a person. There were things that I felt we could have done better, and, I pointed them out to the players, but I also pointed out when we have done things better and how that looked. And, I think sometimes everybody needs that reminder of what they can do. We're in a position now where we want to be at the start of the season in terms of qualifying for the playoffs, not having to go through a play-in. And being really competitive to, win the next 2, 3, 4, 5 games to try and win the MLS Trophy. And I think we've put ourselves in a good position to do that. But we've got to go and compete. So the players need to, number one, believe. That's a big thing for them. Believe that they can go and do that. But it takes a lot of brain. It takes a lot of heart to go and take that next step.
Do you have any family that's going to be coming over next week?
I don't know. My wife, she had to fly back, but they're flying back for the home game Yeah, where I believe they've just opened the top tier as well.
Will
So
your mom be able to come? Does she-
no, Mum won't be. She'll be watching on TV over in the UK.
Okay, and this is sort of off topic, but I know a point of discussion this week has been the MLS, the possible schedule change where they flip-flop when the season is. Do you have opinions on that?
I don't know. No, I believe next year is going to be as was. So I think they're having discussions at the moment, but where it will go, I don't know. It's going to be tough because obviously there's the World Cup that's happening. Bang in the middle of what would be a normal season, and you want. If we want to keep the integrity of the competition, we want the best players playing in the MLS week in, week out.
Right. So just to add on to that, well, they're proposing, that calendar change. Do you think it would be beneficial for MLS to kind of copy that kind of FIFA European calendar?
I think there's problems at the moment because windows are different. So your opportunities to go and get better players to come and improve the league is hard to do because the windows are so different, and you end up paying above market value for some players because of that reason, because their market's still going to be open and yours is closing. So I suppose I will like that there will be some uniformity throughout football, and it becomes a fair market rather than, and that's just for recruitment and trade really. Will it affect supporting the clubs? I think for Charlotte we can be a little bit non-committal because I think our fans will come whether it's summer or winter. I mean, it's pretty hot in the summer, so we probably do get quite a lot in the winter as well. But it's going to be a different question, I think, north of the country and in Canada as well.
What do you think your team learned the most from the first time going to Orlando and suffering that loss? Because that momentum was built right after that, where you ended the season on such a high.
No, I think you learn all the time from each game that you go and play. I've said before, there's many things that can change games. The only thing players can control is their performance. That's the thing that they have to go and do. Results can be changed on a moment. It might be a mistake, it might be an official's error, it could be anything that changes a game. All they can control is their performance. So we learn from every game. We learned that we went and chased a game that we didn't really need to. We didn't play as well as we could have done. Some players probably were trying to find form, and we showed them different ways you can go and try and find form rather than just going around and chasing the ball.
I've spoken to a couple of players about both the away game and the one at home, and they're all very focused on this next Orlando game away, right? They're really not thinking about the game at home just yet. Is that something that you've tried to instill in that squad, like let's go next game mentality instead of thinking of the whole series?
Yeah, that was the talk after the DC game, right? Everything now, well done for the regular season, but everything now is about the playoff game. Let's concentrate on what's going to happen when this game comes about, and it's scheduled for Sunday. We're ready for it. We're looking forward to it and excited by it as well.
Danny.
Yeah, Dean, so kind of following up on that, you haven't lost since the Orlando match that was kind of a dreary 2-0 loss and whatnot, where you're chasing like you keep talking about. But that also coincides with some serious lineup changes that you put in. You brought Privet back in, you moved Pep out wide. What did the Orlando game show you that made you decide to make such drastic changes and also bring Urso back into the starting 11?
Well, I think Junior came on in that game and for 20 minutes was excellent. But the previous game before that, I think Didi and Gibril had come on for Junior at Montreal and done really well for 20 minutes. So, that was just players making the most of that opportunity that came about. But we always felt that we could make some tweaks. One of the things I probably missed was getting Nathan a little bit higher at times. I felt that he causes the opposition problems when he gets higher. And he looks on paper as if Pep Biel is playing wide, but we give him a lot more freedom than just playing in one position as we do with Bram Bronico as well. There's a good fluidity about the players at the moment, but you know, when the ball is in different positions on the pitch, they know where their position should be, and that's a good place to be.
Yeah, Brandt is kind of playing, I wouldn't call it quite a false nine, but he is almost a tip of the spear, defending in the attacking zone. How have you felt about his play in the last stretch of great games?
Yeah, I said before, without the ball, he's outstanding. The effort that he puts in, the numbers that he produces to repeated sprints to put the pressure on the opposition to win the ball back, and you know he's starting to up his game now on the ball as well, as we saw with the two assists he got last week at DC. So you know he's certainly not underestimated in our locker room.
And how do you feel Tim Ream is doing playing at left back? Maybe not the fleetest of foot, but his long passing has been great. How's that tactical change worked out for you?
Yeah, again, you know he's left back in sense of when, you know, we haven't got the ball. When we've got the ball, we bring him in and build with a three. But his use of the ball is excellent. We also give ourselves an extra header in the penalty box as well now by having three centre halves on the pitch, and you know whether that's defending set pieces as we've done last week really well against Benteke, or attacking set pieces as well. You know he went and scored the goal against Montreal. So you know hopefully that can help us improve in both boxes as well.
And then finally, what's the change in mentality going from a regular season game where you're just trying to move up the table? You've got experience in playoffs. You famously won one of the richest game in the world back in the day. What changes do you make to your coaching when it comes to a knockout situation versus a regular season? Well,
we'll certainly practice penalties, which is probably something that you don't do so regular during the season. You know, so we'll be practicing that because you know that can flip. I'm not sure about the system. I must admit, you know, I think if it's over two legs and you win on goal differential, then I think that should be it. You know, the fact that you can go and win 6-0 away and then draw at home and still not go through bewilders me a little bit, but it is what it is. So we know what we've got to go and do. You know, and our mentality is, you know, one game at a time. Let's go and see what we can do at the away game, and if it's enough to bring home and win it in two, then we'll try and do that. But we know we've got a competitive team to play against.
Yeah, we hope you go win 6-0 in a row. That'd be pretty fun to watch at the very least. And then finally, I got one shout out from one of the fans of Charlotte Soccer Show who wanted me to ask, will you bring back the blue and white For the Crown specialty Adidas shoes? You look great on those.
I probably won't bring them back for that game because they're still in the drawer at the stadium. So no, they won't make that appearance. But maybe for the final.
Julie?
Yeah. So yesterday I spoke to Gedwin Vargas. He's currently a top scorer on the team. What impact do you think he'll have on the team's playoffs run?
Well, Kerwin, like Liala Barda, like Pep Biel, like Patrick, like Kerwin, they're all coming into this period with some form and goal scoring form at that as well. You know, they're playing well, he's playing well. So they're all competing for places, and you know I've got a tough decision on what I'd go with to choose as a starting lineup. But then the good thing is whoever I start with, I've got finishers on the side who can come off the bench and finish the game for us. So we're in a really good position. I've been impressed with the improvements that Kerwin's making throughout the season. He's a willing learner. He's really coachable, and it'll certainly help us in the playoffs.
What qualities does he bring to the team?
His finishing has got a lot better. You know, he's had the curly finger probably too many times into my office to show him opportunities where he's not made the keeper work, and I've wanted him to make sure that the goalkeeper's having to make a good save to keep the ball out the back of the net, and I think he's really took that on board and improved.
And he's become a fan favorite, you know, especially among the Latino community, bringing them to Charlotte FC. How important is their support for this game? Really important,
as is all our fans. As I've said many times, it's a real diverse football club here that we have. Our fan base is incredible, you know, and you know our dressing room has got a connection with our fans, whether that's Latino or Tommy Wilson, the Scotsman, coming to games. You know, it's very diverse, and it's great and a really good feeling.
Yeah. Good. Will?
Patrick Adjumon, there was a stat in The Athletic about his progressive dribbling ability. How much of that improvement has come from his work? How much of that is the system that you guys have employed to get him free?
I think it's always his work. You know, it's always the players' work. They're the ones who've got to want to get better, want to improve. You know, our job is to give them opportunities to improve, show them different ways, coach them, teach them, talk to them. You know, and it's their job then to go and take their careers further.
What does it mean to see Ashley Westwood at his age cover the most distance of anybody in this league?
Yeah, I think he's been chasing his touch a lot, hasn't he? No, that's what he said himself. So I was just nicking his one-liner. But no, he does a lot of work that goes unnoticed. You know, he prides himself on being a fit lad, and he's done extremely well at doing that. And it's no surprise to any of us that, you know, he's got the most yards covered in the league.
And you had a lot of support in DC. I've heard a lot of people who are making the trip down to Orlando. What will it mean to play without silence when it comes to Charlotte fans being in Orlando?
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, the support at DC was fantastic, and you know, we understand that there's a cost that goes to it, you know, and a distance for travelling, and you know, hopefully we can make, you know, those who travel and those at home proud of a performance.
Steve, we'll go to you on the Zoom.
Hey, Dean.
Hi, Steve.
You know officials don't make mistakes. Not in this league anyway, according to the league office. But it's particularly with Orlando. And do you feel that this new defensive shape and scheming is better set to keep them from sneaking in on the far right post?
There's nothing new in it, to be honest. It is, you know, the same system that we played without the ball. You know, better defending is going to help. That's what stops you conceding goals and not making mistakes. I mean, you know, the second goal we gave away was pretty much damning as well. You know, straight ball down the middle and centre forward runs onto it. So, you know, concentration's always going to be key, and having that mentality of keeping the ball out the back of your net. If you're a goalkeeper, keeping the ball out of your penalty box if you're a defender. And we've been very good at that, and we need to continue that.
Yeah, because Orlando's been good at drawing people across to the left, and then they put that far ball in to the player sneaking in on the right. Junior scored against us with that the first year. They scored against us with that this year when Jerry got dragged across, you know, guarding a man that he might should have. But with Tim there, it's a different mentality as far as his vision as well. So it seems like that'll be a more protected space.
Yeah, I mean, we just got pulled out of positions too easily for that goal against Orlando. But that was an easy fix for me. We lost our principles at that moment, so that can happen. You know, since then, I remember them getting in against DC and putting an early ball underneath us, and you know, Privs had got back into a really good position in the near post to clear it. So, you know, that's just the players recognising, you know, where they should be at a certain moment.
Is this a must-win game yet, or are you saving that for game 2?
No, I mean, listen, what we'd like to do is take a win with us so we could go and win it. You know, but one thing is for sure that come Friday night, one team's either can go through or one team can extend it to a third game. So, you know, hopefully it's us who's got that choice of winning it.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Bridget.
Kalina is up for the MLS. He's a finalist for the MLS Golden Glove. Do you have anything to say about that?
If we don't win it, I'll be very surprised.
All right, we'll do Carol and then Morgan.
You mentioned Tommy Wilson. He was out there with you on the pitch today, right? In practice. What has he brought this year? And has he weighed in on the first team, you know, as well as academy, or has it been pretty much academy?
No, he's been around the first team. He's not put his hand in his pocket much for any dinners or anything like that. You know, but he's no. Tommy's been a really good influence around the place. You know, he's he's obviously been in the game a long time. He understands the game, so I think you can see his influence, you know, in the legacy and starting to come into the academy as well. You know, Bert, he tends to spend a lot of times watching our training sessions and talking to me of what we're trying to do, our game model, you know, our training model, you know, and our strategy for success as well. We've sat down and, you know, obviously spoken about that a lot. So, you know, Tommy's been, you know, a big part of it.
All right, last one, Jorge.
There was an article that Tom Boger wrote early on in preseason about Charlotte FC and mentioned that, you know, there was the messages coming out were that it was going to be a very positive season, and there was a different feeling with you as coach. You know, it's one thing to say that, but then now looking back, right, you finished 5th this season, right, and you've improved the team a lot. You know, I guess, what are some of the things that you feel like you've kind of accomplished so far this regular season?
You know, from when I came in here to where we are now, I think there's a lot more belief in what we're doing and how we're trying to do it. I said right from the start, I can't compare to last year. I wasn't here, so I don't know what the feeling was like. I don't know what, you know, this building was like, and this is the important building that all the preparation work is done. But I've seen a belief grow within the players, within the staff. I've seen people wanting to get better, wanting to improve. I've seen professionalism increase at the club in general, and I think natural growth is one of the things that you're going to see with such a young club. But you know, people take on ideas really well here and run with it and try to run with it very quickly, and I think that's been an important part of it. Cheers.
Thank you, guys.